So I'm looking at these places where I put seeds. If there's anything growing near the sticks, they're going to be cherries. And otherwise, I planted a lot of flowers down here. And some seedlings already come up. So I don't remember what I planted where. I know I planted some marigolds on this side, but I also planted like Flinders poppies and giant poppies, and I planted some lavender seeds somewhere and whatnot. So I mean, anything could spring up pretty much. But it'll be interesting to see what those flowers are actually. And then I planted 2 sticks, or the possibility for cherries. Not holding my breath, but you never know. It could happen. So that's good. But we've had quite a bit of rain recently, and we're expecting more rain, so I don't really need to generally water anything really, because everything's pretty moist. The ground's pretty moist. Obviously it's not going to last forever, but the fact that seeds are growing pretty quickly is a pretty good sign. But it doesn't mean that they'll successfully grow, but if they do, I can be like, yeah, I've got things growing. So this is generally where I planted other seeds. So I've got lots of grass growing. There's a little seedling or something there. But I'm not holding my breath. I've got all these weird wild seeds have just sprouted up from my watering. So, but I just have to wait with this one because there's nothing really much there. But anything could sprout out of there. I mean, it's an ex-garden bed. And so little seeds just think, oh, we're finally getting some good treatment. Let's sprout up. And that's when you get all the wild seeds and the wildflowers and seeds from past plants have just been sitting there and waiting to grow. Too much to everyone's annoyance. And grass seeds are there waiting to grow. We saw a snake for the first time a few days ago. It was some sort of green snake, and it was sort of crawling around at night, and it gave the chickens a little bit of a spook. The chickens weren't really scared. Chickens are like dumbly curious about snakes, and so they come out, take a peek, go back into their safe spot, and then they come out again, get closer. Meanwhile, the snake's like, oh, what's this I smell? Chickens that I could eat if only I could get inside the cage. So, it was a little bit of a drama. I was sort of waiting for the snake to actually attack the cage, but it didn't. It just sort of climbed over it and then walked on, moved on. So this is another example of wild things habitating, where I've sort of started to treat, have plants and things. So all these green things are unwanted wildflowers that are just growing now that I put a little bit of mulching and a little bit of, care of the tomato plants that may or may not grow. I just realized that's covered in dirt. I don't know if I did that or whether something else did. So this is my garden bed. I planted lavender on this side, so I assumed a lot of things that are growing might be lavender. There are seeds there. But literally, like, anything that grows after you started watering it could be like a wild plant. It could be wild seeds. And look, ants have dug a hole there. So ants are liking the nice moistened soil because I've been watering the area. These flowers are doing quite well, but the only one that's really pungent is the carnation right there. So that's the only one that smells really strong, really sweet. All the rest are just like ordinary flowers. But down here is where it should be some seedlings. That might be a seedling, I don't know, but these are all flower seeds, so they're all flower seeds, so they should be like literally flowers. And then, so I've got quite a few, but once again, they can be wildflowers. It's not until they actually turn into flowers that I'll know what they are. And then across here is where I planted roses and other seeds. So look, this is a zinnia or something. Where is it? There it is. I planted these other seeds. I mean, it could be. I mean, it might be wildflowers yet. I mean, look at all the wildflowers. I planted rose seeds around here, so I mean, anything could be a rose seed or wildflower, but I don't know. It could be anything. Look, the daisies are dead. Daisies already had it. I wonder if they've got little pod seeds to plant. Oh no, they're just curled up. They're not seedy yet. Okay. They have to dry out a bit more before they seed. Yeah, so they're looking pretty good. I had the weird-ass dream last night. It was really weird. And when I woke up, I had this song in my head. And it was kind of like sour and depressing. Just the line, I'm with you. And then it sort of echoed. And it was like really downward, kind of toned. And I was like, how depressing is that? But the dream was about basically me obtaining or needing to obtain the ability to live by myself again. And then at the same time, like, relatives are disappearing. And then one of my relatives who, cost me a lot when I last bought a house, and I had the house taken away from me pretty much. As well as all my money. I mean, people just like, oh, we know the conclusion, take away your house and your money and your nice belongings and have that as the final conclusion. Anyway, in my dreams, the same person wanted to live with someone because they were alone. They had basically been abandoned for some reason. And they're like, I need to live with you. And I'm like, I don't really want to live with you. And then the concept of either struggling to live with an elderly parent came across, or pressured them to use their pension to live by themselves, I mean, so that was kind of like the dream, and it was pretty depressing, actually. And I was like, oh. I mean, that could be almost reality, except I don't live where I lived in my dreams, so maybe if I just avoid that state, that kind of concept won't come true. But I've sort of been mentally disturbed a little bit lately, and has everything to do with like the guilt of giving people presents who I basically don't deserve presents, and my associations with people who have kind of ultimately harmed me or wrecked my life in some way. And I'm like, So I would say that's been on my mind a lot lately. But yeah.